In this video, TWC the Invacar has come out to help with another fleet member. Yes, things are progressing with Giselle, the GSA, and TWC is helping. So let's have a little outing in the Invacar. I think this is what's known as thread drift. Yeah, I managed to get dirt all over my face. What of it? TWC hasn't been out for weeks, months even. And I thought it might be a nice opportunity to take her out. It's not too sunny, it's not too wet, it's not too windy, importantly. But like I say, she's been sat here for a very long time. I've left the battery connected up as well. It's most unlike me. Let's see if there's any life there. Oh, there's loads of life there. Like Giselle, she's going to have to get the petrol through. But I don't mind churning this over because unlike a normal starter motor, it's just an electric motor, belt drive, turning the engine. Oh, there we go. Might need a bit of throttle as well. There we go. Happy as Larry. So take a bit of choke off. Now we've got her to fire initially. Quite mild today. And that's why we call her TWC. Right. Spending a bit of oil on that first start up in a while. We'll let her get the fluid circulating. I'll wipe some oil off my face and we'll go for a drive. Let's turn the choke down a bit. There we go. Gear selector, forward, bungee because sometimes she jumps out of gear. Handbrake off. Ooh, steady. There we go. Handbrake back on. Pinger back into neutral. And realise the oil pressure light's not working in this one either. So that's Ellie and TWC that don't have working oil pressure lights. Maybe just have a quick look into that. Okay, this is the oil pressure sensor here. That's the feed to it. And I understand that doing that, we get, it should be 12 volts, but by the time it's worked its way to here, it's 9.5. And my understanding is with the engine off, that should be considerably less than 9. So let's just start the engine again. Oh, that's worrying. That is what I'd expect, but with the engine running, we've got no voltage. So that's what makes the light go out again. So the switch is working. So maybe it's just as simple as a bulb then. Hold on, let's turn her off and we'll just live running off. Yes, I know these bolts are slapping around all over the place, but they keep working. Oh, that's inconclusive then. Or has the oil pressure not gone away yet? It can take a while, which is why sometimes it takes a while for the light to come back on, but that doesn't seem to be... Why are we getting a negative figure? That's quite exciting. Is it because I didn't turn the ignition back on again, you idiot? Yes. We need the ignition on for the oil pressure light to work. Come on. Yeah, so there we go. The switch is working, so it must just be a bulb then. Assuming this is actually making a good connection on here. And I think it is. Yeah, that feels a good fit on there. So once again, multimeter to the rescue. No joy with a bulb. That's a good bulb. We've still got no signs of life, so I need to check the wiring going all the way back down. Joy! This is turning into a bigger thing than it should have been. Oh gosh, I'm sweating. It's like low 20s degrees centigrade, but oh, it's so humid. You do the slightest thing, you end up soaked in sweat. So I'm going to put her in gear to start her up. As per recommendations in DAFs of all things. And I'll just quickly take you through the controls. So we're on a hand throttle. I push down these handlebars to slow. It's a Variamatic, so there are no gears. The windscreen is filthy, so we'll engage in some wiper action. The wiper shouldn't be parked down there. That's entirely correct. I know a lot of people say it should be, but actually in service, for the most part, they park here. And that's not my fault. This sticker sucker doesn't want to stick today. Stay there. I need all three suckers in use because things get rather exciting in a tuk. I've finally taken this sticker off as well because it was actually catching the wiper blade. It was from the Retro Rides Weekender back in 2019. Alright, let's go. Oh, squealing already, tuk. We're only just starting. And then we've done a few miles to get it warmed through, and now we're ready to give it some beans. I'll put the phone in the way, it blocks my rear vision. There we go. Now we can see what's actually coming up the road behind me. I suppose I could actually look with my actual face as well. So let's red Audi go. There we go. Miles an hour. Oh, tuk, why have I left you for so long? Really has not been out very much at all this year. Feels like the tyres might be a bit flat spotted. So we'll do some unnecessary driving about, I think. I've got no oil pressure light, but sod it. If the light comes on, your engine's dead anyway, really, isn't it? Very dangerous junction here, so we'll knock some speed off and we'll head down towards Newquay. I'll have a quick spin around Newquay just to confound any tourists who happen to be in the area today. Try and skirt my way around these horrible humps. You can't avoid them in a three-wheeler. So this is where tuk is happiest, really. Bimbling along at 30 miles an hour. It wasn't really meant to be screaming up and down A roads. I do hope to do some videos on the earlier type of what we unfortunately called back in the day invalid carriages. Not very good phraseology, but it's hard to get away from calling them that when that's what they always were. Thankfully, language has improved somewhat for the people who actually use these vehicles. Just simply call them wheelchair users or people who, yeah, have a disability. Even disability is frowned upon a little because it focuses on what you can't do rather than what you can. But yeah, these fascinating little trikes have a huge place in automotive history, I think, because they were so important. They were massively flawed. This is a massive death trap, really, and I'm aware of that every time I drive it. But they brought so much freedom to so many people at a time when other schemes didn't really exist. Even today, Motability comes out of your benefit allowance for disability, so you still have a certain amount of expense involved in having a vehicle. But yeah, thank goodness people these days can choose an actual car or just a mobility scooter. This is kind of the forerunner of the mobility scooter, really. Right, open her up. Goes so well, she's been parked up for months. That's 50, which frankly is enough. Doors rattling a bit, needs adjusting. There's always something. Oh, now this makes me smile. Getting tuk back out again. has become a separate video on its own really, another outing for Tuk. But yeah, I just love this little car so much. But it's difficult to motivate myself to get her out when most of the time it's me and Miss Hubner and I cannot carry her. It says passenger carrying is forbidden, even though she's dinky. And yeah, I certainly can't take her out as a family car. So if we're going to shows as any more than just me, Tuk doesn't work, unfortunately. And some might say the solution would be to get another Tuk, but they're not cheap these days. I paid £100 for Tuk almost 5 years ago. Yeah, times they have changed since then. I bought TPA, the spares car, for £100 as well. But I think I actually sold it to Zell, who has her now, for 80 because I felt bad because I'd taken the engine out. Go little Tuk, go! You just got to hold on and be brave when it comes to bends. Oh, there we go. That should be smooth. There shouldn't feel like a ratio change there. One of the issues we've got going on with Tuk at the moment. I don't think these belt drives lasted very long at all back in the day. I think almost every service they would just cut the old belt off and fit a new one. Because these were maintained by the government. The end user would have it outside their house to use whenever and however they liked, but they would get taken away for regular service by service centres. And because the government was paying, they literally serviced them into the ground. Done 500 miles in a year, doesn't matter, full service, fresh oil, fresh belts, probably go through the brakes as well. Air-cooled flat twin engine from Austria, Steyr-Puch. Yeah. Oh, this is lovely. Thank you, Tuk, for improving my mood. Oh, 30 limit, come on, slow down. There's a girl. One thing I never did with Tuk, when I fitted the new master cylinder, I never bench bled it. I just didn't understand that such things were necessary. I think we've finally managed to squeeze all the air out of it, but I do sometimes get a little more travel than I'd like. It makes me believe there may still, even now, be some air trapped in there. It's definitely a learning experience, this car. All my previous mechanic have mostly been done on 2CVs. And despite the fact it's an air-cooled flat twin, it really is quite different. Please stay there, big van. Oh, thank you very much. Lots of campers out at the moment because school's back, so this is when the older folk come out and enjoy themselves. No screaming kids. So if you watch the channel back, I've had all sorts of adventures in this car. We've been through the centre of London. We've been around Goodwood Racing Circuit. That was an experience, did an auto test there as well, and proved that these things don't fall over quite as readily as some people would believe. I don't think I've even managed to lift the wheel. Having the engine at the back does help with that. Lots of downforce. In fact, she's remarkably rear heavy. The balance point is just ahead of the rear wheels, and only just. So here we are, going to take you on a little tour of Nuki today as we confound everyone, people taking photos. I really should put some Hubnut branding on the outside of this car, really. Don't know if there's any Hubnutters in town today. Shame I haven't got any merch packed. I could have done a merch run in Tuck, that's always fun. Yeah, lots of smiles when Tuck's in town. Incidentally, 20 mile an hour all the way down here is the speed limit. I will be doing a video on 20 mile an hour speed limits. We are having changes here in Wales. This one already existed. Ah, lovely. It's just nice to create a bit of a scene, you know? You drive around in a Lamborghini, everyone thinks you're an idiot. You drive along in Tuck and everyone is just like, what on earth? Or I haven't seen one of those for years. Just past the post office where we post the merchandise. And then we got the big challenge of getting up Church Street here. Captain's Rendezvous. They're good people at Captain's Rendezvous. Changed hands in March this year. And they do a grand job. Still excellent chips. So she's going up this pretty well. I'm not even on full throttle, so must be feeling happy today, Tuck. Right, I'm gonna off to Tim's then. Well, there we go. Officially, I now have a chicken chaser. Tuck has just chased this chicken into the yard, but yeah, oh my gosh, she's running so well. She's actually driving far better than I expected. I'm very pleasantly surprised. Listen to her just chirping away. You wouldn't have think she'd been out of use for months. Marvellous. So there you go. For more recent joiners to the channel, this is the marvellous Tuck. I hope you enjoyed that little adventure. Always a pleasure. So much fun to get this girl out for a little trot about. We've got the new cable, so we can go back to working on the GSA now. But thank you for watching this little video. Obviously, the next stage of the GSA will be in video format very, very soon. And yeah, look forward to seeing you in a future video. Farewell.